welcome to a miniCon mini lesson where I will be showing you how to decorate cupcakes the magical and the Muggle way. So we'll start with these plain cupcakes here, and there we go. So here are our magical cupcakes. We have a Pokeball, a Captain America shield, and a Chewbacca cupcake. So now that we know the magical way to make these cupcakes, let's learn the Muggle way. So grab some new ones and get started. So these are our easy, medium, and hard cupcakes. We're going to start with our easy one, which is the Pokeball cupcake. So you want to start with nice, clean hands, a plain cupcake with no icing on it, and white icing. And the other decorations you're going to use for this cupcake are red sprinkles and black gel decorating icing. So you will begin by cutting the tip off of your piping bag if you have one. If not, later on in this video I can show you how to make one out of a Ziploc bag. Or you can spread your icing on with a spoon or a spatula or a butter knife. But we're going to start just by piping on our icing. And I am going to start right here in the middle and move my way out. And I am just making sure to keep pressure on the back end of the bag. We don't want to squeeze it in the middle. We want to squeeze it at the back end of the bag where our little tie is. And now that I have a nice, smooth white surface, I am going to move these other cupcakes out of the way. Place my cupcake down and grab a paper towel or a piece of paper or a piece of wax paper, anything with a nice straight edge. And I'm just going to lay this right over top of the middle of my cupcake. So you can see here I'm just covering half of it with this paper. Now I'm going to take my red sprinkles, and these are really fine sugar sprinkles, and I'm going to sprinkle them right on top. There we go. And if you're making more than one cupcake, you can reuse the sprinkles that we're catching in our pan here, which is really nice because we don't like to waste things. So we have our red sprinkles there, and then I'm just going to pick up my paper by grabbing the opposite end that's furthest away from the cupcake and folding it over. So there we go. So now we have a half red, half white cupcake. And we are going to use our black gel icing, our little decorative icing, to make a line right down the middle. But we're not going to go all the way through. So I'm going to start about right on the edge. And then I'll stop when I'm almost to the middle. And I'm going to do the same from the other side. And just stop when I'm almost to the middle, like that. Then I'm just going to freehand a circle with my black icing. So this is our easy cupcake tutorial. It's a nice little Pokeball. And you can't see it very well in the video, but there's still some red sprinkles right there in the middle. So I'm just going to cover that up with a little bit more icing. So I'm just squeezing from the end and placing right in the middle of that circle we drew, just a little bit more icing. And there we go. We have a nice Pokeball cupcake. You can catch some Pokemon with it. So that is our easy cupcake using red sprinkles, white icing, and black decorative icing. The next one we are going to do is our Chewbacca cupcake. I'll just grab it to remind you guys what it looks like. So it's right here nice Chewbacca cupcake. So you'll need a plain cupcake again with no icing. And you will also need chocolate fudge frosting or any brown frosting you can use. You can use white frosting and just use brown food coloring to color it, or red and green food coloring to make brown. But I have this nice chocolate frosting that I'm going to use, and I will actually show you how to make a piping bag for this one. So I have a nice Ziploc bag here. I'm going to open it up, and then I'm folding it in on itself until I just have one corner sticking out. And I have a just cup here, just any normal cup will do. And I'm just going to place my Ziploc right over top of the cup. And the corner that I left out is actually going into the cup. So that's gonna get a nice little section where we can put the frosting into. So I'm just gonna grab a spatula and get my frosting in there. And since I'm only doing one cupcake, I don't need a lot of frosting. But if you're doing a lot, you can fill up your little piping bag as much as you want. Here we go. And I'm just going to try and push that as close to the tip as I can get it. I want to make sure there's not a lot of air bubbles in there. I'm going to add just a little bit more. Go. And then I realized I did not tell you the other things we're going to be using for this. So you will also need that black gel icing from before and some white sprinkles. So I have some black and white sprinkles here, and I'm just going to pull out the white sprinkles. And you will also need a pair of scissors. So now that I have my bag filled with as much frosting as I need, you can press down at the base of your frosting where the big part of your bag is, and you want to twist your bag. And you're trying to prevent any air from being close to your frosting. So we're twisting it. We have a nice little encased frosting here. And you can either rubber band this, you could zip tie it, or you could just tie a knot in it, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm just twisting it until it's very tight. And then I'm just going to tie a knot right there at the base as close to that little ball of icing as I can get it. Right. The magical way was much faster for this. Here we go. So now I have that nice knot at the base of my frosting here. And I have that corner right there on my Ziploc. And I am not going to cut this straight off because I want to have a very textured appearance on my cupcake because Chewbacca is very furry. So instead, I'm going to go in with my scissors at an angle just straight back towards it and make tiny cuts as small as you can all around the tip of your Ziploc bag. And when you squeeze, this will make your frosting or icing come out in like little ribbons. So here we go. All right. So now that I have my cupcake frosting ready, I have my cupcake here. So I'm just going to be squeezing at the large part of my icing frosting bag. And then you'll actually see little ribbons of it coming out. I don't know if you can, there we go. You can see little ribbons of the frosting coming out. And we're gonna use that to get a fur type texture. So you're just gonna be squeezing at the base of your bag, and I might cut just a couple more, just so it'll go a little bit faster. Here we go. And these are clean kitchen scissors. They're not crafting scissors or anything. We want to make sure we're being food safe and careful, especially if you're feeding these to other people. So I just have some nice clean scissors that are normally in my kitchen. And then we're squeezing that out. There we go. And you're going to be doing a dot type process here. So I'm just squeezing while it's on the cupcake and then pulling straight up. So squeezing on the cupcake and pulling straight up. And this will help give it that furry texture that we're looking for. So here we go. And I'm just doing this all over the cupcake here. Ooh, got the end of my bag in there. And I like to put a lot of frosting on my cupcakes anyways. So you can do as much or as little as you like. The more you put on, the more it's going to look like a very furry cupcake. There we go. So now we have a nice furry textured cupcake. And I'm actually going to go in with my little spatula here and just draw a diagonal line right through the middle. And that is where our little strap is going to be on. So we're going to take our black icing now and just fill in that stripe that we made with our spatula. So there we go. Oop, missed a spot. So as you can see, I now have that large black stripe right through, and then the brown still has that textured look. And if it's not looking exactly like you want it, you can take a toothpick or a skewer, which is what I have here, and just poke in your icing and then pull right back up. And that will give you nice little points coming out to make it look nice and furry. There we go. And now I just need to add my white dots in. So I'm going to use these white sprinkles out of this black and white sprinkle mix and pick out just the white ones and add them onto my black strip in rows of 2. So you don't have to be perfect about it. I am trying to take the longer sprinkles just so I don't have to do as many. There we go. And this just takes a little bit, and that's okay. That is why this is our medium cupcake. Takes a little while. You have to be able to use scissors on your own and be a little safe about it. And you also have to sort colors. So just, there we go. Got a little on my fingers. And if you're doing this for a big crowd, you could also use tweezers to put this in so you're not actually touching the cupcakes. These are just going to be at my home, so I'm not too worried about it. So, there we go. We now have our Chewbacca cupcake with his little strap on. And he's nice and furry, has that black strap with the white sprinkles as the little notches on his strap. So that was our medium cupcake. Now we're going to do our hard cupcake. So for our hard cupcake, you'll need 1 plain cupcake again. Then you will need white frosting, red frosting, and a blue. And then you will also need a marshmallow and some scissors. So this is our hard cupcake just because there are so many steps and we're actually making a nice icing layer so it kind of stacks up. So I'm going to start with my red icing, and it is just in this Ziploc bag kind of like the other ones were, but instead I just cut the tip at about a 45-degree angle. And I'm just going to start in the middle of my cupcake and circle around just like we did for our Pokeball. I'm just trying to cover this whole cupcake in red. And it's not exactly smooth right now, it's kind of lumpy. So let me clean off my spatula really fast because it's got Chewbacca hair all over it. There we go. And I'm just going to dip this in a little bit of water. And the water will help smooth out your icing without it sticking to your spatula or your butter knife or your spoon. So I'm just smoothing that out, trying to get it into a nice circle and keeping the edges on the cupcake because sometimes they like to fall off. There we go. We have a nice smooth circle and it's nice and flat now. So I'm going to set my red icing to the side and use some white. And this is the same type of bag, just cut at a 45-degree angle for the tip. And I'm going to freehand a white circle just right along the outside edge, leaving about a 1/4 of an inch of the red showing. So here we go. Just making that nice circle for his shield. There we go. So a nice circle. You can still see the red here on the outside. And then I'm going to go back in with my red icing. And I'm almost out, but that's okay. Because we just need one more red circle just right along the inside of that white circle. So a red circle just free-handed right along the inside of that white circle. There we go. And that is also making our cupcake icing taller. You can kind of see the layers when you turn it to the side. So just making a nice red circle. There we go. And the next inner circle is the blue, and it's going to be our last circle. So I know it's hard to tell on the video here, but there is a divot in that red icing. So I'm just going to take the tip of my blue icing bag and put it down in the center of that little dip and squeeze. And now we have a blue mound and it kind of pops up right out of there. There we go. So now we have the shield, but we are missing the star that goes right on it. So we are going to cut the star out of a marshmallow. And this is one of the harder steps of this cupcake because marshmallows are very sticky and you also have to freehand a star out of it. So I'm just going to take my scissors and cut off a chunk of this marshmallow. Here we go. I don't want to use the whole thing. It's really thick and just a little bit too much. But now I just have the little, about a 1/2 inch slice of a marshmallow. And I'm going to free cut a star out of it. And when you make your cuts, you'll have to pull the pieces of the marshmallow out and they will stick to you and they'll stick to your scissors. But that's okay, you can just pull them right off. And if they're sticking to you really badly, you can actually use the other side of the marshmallow to kind of pull them off and it will actually stick to it, which is really nice. Here we go. And I am basically using a triangle technique to try and cut my star out. There we go. And it gets a little harder to hold it. You could also cut your star out with a little kitchen knife. If you have a cutting board, you could set it on. And that would go well too. And it might be a little less sticky on your hands. But here we go. We have our star cut out, and I'm just going to place that right in the middle of our blue mound. I want to see which direction I want it facing, and just press it down right on top. There we go. So now we have our 3 cupcakes the Muggle way. So our Captain America shield cupcake, our Chewbacca cupcake, and our Pokeball cupcake. I hope you guys had fun with this and that you get to try it at home. And I hope you have a great mini-con this year. Bye!